Hey there, I'm Katie Fiola-Jones. I am a certified Christian financial counselor. I help believers learn how to manage their money in light of the gospel so they can free their money up to pursue their unique calling without any kind of financial hesitation. If that sounds like something that you might be interested in, be sure to subscribe to this channel and turn on the little bell to get notified whenever we come out with new videos. But on my channel, I actually talk a lot about one of my favorite resources, which is Christian Health Care Ministries. I have plenty of videos all on my reviews of CHM, what they've updated over the years. Last year in 2024, we used the Maternity program to welcome our baby son into the world. And so I have a whole review video on the CHM Maternity program if that's something you are curious to learn more about. However, in this video, I am kind of doing a quick update. In 2024, I actually posted a video on how to use the online portal to submit bills. And since then, CHM has updated their online portal. Now, this is actually a really great thing. The portal previously was relatively user-friendly. It had gotten better over the years. We've been with CHM since, I think, 2021. What's even more exciting is they have this brand new online portal, and it is even more user-friendly. So maybe you're watching this video because you aren't a CHM member, and so you're just curious how this process works. Otherwise, if you are a member, you likely have figured out exactly how to use this on your own, because I feel like it is pretty intuitive. But either way, this video will be helpful whether you are a member or not. However, if you aren't a member yet of Christian Health Care Ministries, and maybe you decide to join all of us wonderful people who are already a part of the ministry, my family and I would greatly appreciate it if you considered using our referral link to sign up for your membership. It does give our family a small kickback, and we greatly appreciate your support for what I do here on my channel and just supporting our family to be able to continue to let me do things like this. So the link for that will be in the description below. Quick disclaimer, I have not actually used the portal officially for any of my own bills. However, I've kind of tested it out and run through it to see how it works. But last year in 2024, we had a lot going on and used the portal previously, tons and tons and tons. So I have not officially used it myself for any of my own bills, but this should be pretty simple for us to walk through. So here we go. So first, you obviously will want to log into the member portal. But once you get logged into your portal, this is what you will land on. You can kind of see just some quick drop downs here of if you have any unfinished submissions, what submissions you've finished and where they're at. And so you can kind of check on all of those things here. But to go and submit a bill, you just go over here to the My Medical Bills tab on the left. And again, you'll have a quick snapshot of all the information here of the different existing incidents and needs that you have submitted, where they're at in the process. So you can see these things down here are stage 5 of 5. They've processed, completed. If you ever see anything on here that says processed, complete, and it's been a while and you haven't seen a check for that, the reimbursement for that medical expense, it's likely that the expense was not approved for sharing. So you can always contact CHM. I usually, I've given them a call in the past, and then they are usually very clear to be hey, this actually didn't fit within our sharing standards or, within the membership stuff, and so they'll explain why. Okay, so that's just kind of a quick overview. If you are a CHM member, you can kind of mess around with this to kind of see what's going on with all of your medical bills, and it'll all kind of populate here. But to submit a bill, you actually go here to this wonderful button saying New Submission. That makes sense, right? What you'll do is select who you are submitting the bill for, and then you are going to attest that you are the selected person or you are an authorized representative of this person. And then you just need to consent to having your kind of medical information shared with CHM. So this next page will ask you what type of incident it is that you are submitting a bill for. For example, my husband's dislocated ankle. That's just a standard incident. An accident is if there might be somebody else who is liable for your medical bills. So like in the case of like a car accident where somebody else hit you. Obviously, maternity is pretty clear on what that medical event would be. And then a pre-existing condition is something that you had prior to coming into Christian Health Care Ministries, which if you're curious about their pre-existing conditions kind of policies, I recommend going and reading. They have a page on their website all about pre-existing conditions and the eligibility for sharing for those. You need to give your incident a title, and then you need to say when the symptoms began. And then you would give them a brief description of all the events that happened. Okay, so this would be an example of how to do your standard incident. I'll go through and kind of look at a couple of these other ones for you, but we'll just follow through on this test incident we have here. Then you'll just want to double check, make sure everything looks all right. It is possible to be a CHM member and also have some other kind of health insurance. Obviously, something like Medicare would be one of those instances if you qualify for Medicare already. The order of operations for paying for medical bills is any other insurance that can be applied before CHM needs to be applied first, and then CHM will cover anything else that's not paid for by your insurance or, the Medicare or workers' compensation. So you need to let them know if you have those. In this case, we're going to just say no. Now, this is asking if you have applied for financial assistance with your medical provider. In this case, we'll say no. All right, and then this is just when you start uploading the medical bills or the estimates that you are receiving from your hospital or provider. A great example of this was when my husband had his ankle surgery. We asked for the estimate ahead of time, and so we got the full estimate of what the hospital bills would equate to, an estimate of what the provider, the surgeon's bills would be, as well as like the anesthesiologist. Same thing when I had my knee surgery many years ago. We got the whole estimate beforehand, and then especially if it's a maternity related event, you need to get the global fee, and then that you have to submit that before everything. So make sure your itemized bill has obviously your name on it. Your full name is important. An itemized bill also has your provider's name, address, and phone number, as well as the date of service that you received that. And then you need a description of the service or the CPT codes. It's much easier, much better, and more efficient for CHM to go and process it if you have the exact CPT codes. Now, anytime you go to a provider, you need to ask for an itemized bill and be very explicit in saying that you need the bill to have CPT codes, because sometimes when you go to a provider and say, I need an itemized bill, they'll just like print you a bill and it'll just have like, here's all the things that we did and how much they cost. But CHM really does need like the CPT codes to process it efficiently and appropriately. So make sure to ask and be very clear that the bill needs to have CPT codes. I have only run into a few problems with this, like very rarely. And we've experienced a number of different medical related things since we've been CHM members. And in most cases, like 95% of the time, it's super smooth to get those bills, no problem. However, in some cases when they've been like smaller providers, like a really small office, they're not used to people who just don't have insurance, or when they don't have insurance, they don't ask for something like this because they're like, why would you need a CPT code if you don't have insurance? So just explain to them and be upfront and say, we need it for getting reimbursed from the health cost sharing ministry that I'm a part of. Again, I usually don't run into any issues, but I have, and so just be clear. And then you need the individual charges for the service. And then if there's any discounts that have been applied. Now, most of the time the provider, well, I guess not most of the time. Let me give you a few examples of how this might look. So you might get a bill that has the total amount of what that medical event costs. So it might be, let's just say $1,000. And then it might say, okay, you received a 20% discount, self-pay discount, and then it'll give you the new total of like $800 to that you actually are responsible for. So it might show you the actual discounted amount. However, in some cases, the self-pay discount was kind of already incorporated within the actual amount that they put on the bill. So it might be $1,000 and it might have already applied the self-pay discount. So for example, like when I had to get an MRI, they only the self-pay rate was $500. They didn't have any other way to show like this is what your discount was. It was just self-pay is $500. Another good example is if you get a bill in the mail and they have it for $1,000 and before you go and pay it online or over the phone or anything, make sure to call the number on the bill and talk to their billing department about any self-pay discounts. Whenever my provider does labs, they send it to LabCorp. I get a bill in the mail like a month or so later. I always call the number on there and say, hey, I'm a self-pay patient. Do you have any discounts for this lab? And most of the time, I think every single time I've called, they've had some kind of a discount. Now, in that case, it's like an over-the-phone discount, and you have to pay by phone right then in order to receive that discount. And so what I have done is on the bill that I've received in the mail, I'll write on it and say, this was the discount, like the percentage and the amount that it comes out to, and then I'll write total paid on this date, and then I'll ask them for the confirmation number of that and everything, just so I have all the information. And then I rescan that bill, and that is what I submit to Christian Health Care Ministries. So this is where you can submit the actual bill. So you go ahead and add the file here. And then here is like if you need to upload any other relevant files to this situation. I'd say most of the time I have not needed to use this. However, the time that I have used this is like when we have received physical therapy prescriptions from our providers. So after my husband's ankle injury and surgery, he was given a prescription for ankle physical therapy. The original prescription was for so many instances, like so many times at the physical therapist, and then it was like to reevaluate after that. And then once they did that, he did actually get a new prescription for so many more PT times. And so we submitted both of those just to show like, yes, our doctor is asking for this and they have prescribed this to this situation. All right, and then before you actually hit submit, you do need to agree again to the statement of beliefs for Christian Health Care Ministries. You can go ahead and quickly read through this and then check the box that you understand this and you do agree to their statement of beliefs. So once you've added the bill here to the portal, you're going to just fill out some of the quick details about the incident. So you can just go ahead and put it all in here. And then you'll want to give the breakdown of how much the bill was, any discounts that were added, and then the payments that you've made. Now, it is okay to submit it and without paying for it yet. That is fine, but just remember that as a CHM member, you have also agreed to stay on top of your bills. This means that if there are any late fees that are incurred by not paying it on time, you are actually responsible for those late fees, not Christian Health Care Ministries. So it doesn't matter if you're waiting for the reimbursement from CHM, just remember that you need to be on top of the bills yourself, whether that means calling your provider and being on a payment plan and just sticking with the payment plan or paying off the full amount when it is due. Now, this would be a great place to put, like if you didn't make a payment, so this would be 0. And if there's a deadline for the discount, you can say yes. And then what is that deadline for that discount? Now, just to show you, if you do add any other relevant files, it will just ask you for what this relevant file is. And then once you're done with that, you click submit And it'll take you back to the main medical bills page. So if you scroll down here to the bottom, you'll see any finished submissions right here. And you'll see the date and type and everything like that, as well as the document that you submitted. So we'll see what happens, since this was all just random stuff that I put in here. So I'll probably get a call from them being like, what is going on? So this is kind of neat too, because you can actually go and add any further bills or documents to that specific need by clicking on there. Now, this is wonderful because this is not something that they actually did previously. So this will all keep things like clumped together very nicely. So any of these kinds of things you can go through and add like an additional bill. And it's kind of the same thing, but just a little bit more streamlined because you're adding it to the specific incident that you have clicked on. Now, I wanted to just go through really quick and show you what the maternity-related event looks like. You need to put in your estimated due date for your baby. You'll want to actually select ahead of time. I'm actually just learning this for the first time myself, too. You will actually go and say what you want your baby, like which program you want your baby to be on once they are born. So this is actually great because you don't have to call. Wow, this is wonderful. You won't have to call later. This is actually really great to know because they've actually changed the maternity program slightly. Your baby used to be able to be on your, like, mama's plan until they were 90 days old. However, they've changed that. They've changed it to only 30 days. So your baby has to be on their own program starting once they're like only a month old. And that doesn't seem like a lot of time to remember to actually do that and call in to get them on their own program. So this is kind of nice that you can choose ahead of time. You can also choose not to add your baby, and then you can add them to the CHM Plus program as well. So that is really cool. All right, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful to share with you and get an idea of what the CHM portal looks like for submitting your medical bills for sharing. And if you have any questions about it, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer them if I can. I am not an employee of CHM, nor am I sponsored by CHM. I am just a member helping other members to learn how to use CHM, as well as just giving you the information you need to make an informed decision on whether or not CHM is right for you. And again, if you are not a CHM member and are considering joining and this video was helpful for you, be sure to use our family's referral link in the description below. We greatly appreciate the support, and be sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any other CHM update videos or any of the other faith and finance videos that I create here on the channel. If there's anything you want to learn more about, would love to share that with you here. All right, see you next time.